Stars on the way I vibe when I walk into the room. Wind blows underneath the soles of my brand new pair of shoes. I got the attention, I'm on a mission. No sweat in the way I step, I got a fresh new attitude. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, can you buy me a crown? Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. New look, got the ladies shook. New watch saying it's my time. These magazines wanna feature me, cause they know I'm on the rise. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. Cause ever since I flipped that switch, my power can't be denied. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. I'm there with a vision. Got a passion, making it happen. Ready for action. And this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. This is my world now. Hey! Here we go! We coming ready or not, you better steady yourself, because we're raising some hell. There's nothing keeping this roof from blowing off. We're taking over the town, hit the switch and shut it down. Like Indian, we're electric, never stop. We coming ready or not, we coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got, we're giving all that we got. We're coming ready or not. We're throwing gas on the fire, the stratosphere getting high.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new Click It RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at Click It RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
Abrasive legacy track that is Atlanta Motor Speedway. Round number 2 as we get you set for the next round of the Northwest Gen 4 Cup Fun Series. Coverage tonight from virtual Atlanta. I am Wesley Outland. Jason Rockefeller is alongside. Of course, Mr. Cody Deemers is our producer tonight. Executive Director is Charles Wooten. Well, we're getting ready for this race. Obviously, drivers are on the racetrack preparing to go as we see Ryan Bloom preparing to qualify. Jason, this is not the new super speedway-esque Atlanta. This is the abrasive, hard-on tires drivers track of Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're going to see a fun century grind with this series tonight. My friend, your thoughts?
Thank gosh is all I got to say. That's all I'm thankful for, because I absolutely love this old Atlanta surface. So fun. The tires get worn out so quickly. The surface is so abrasive. As Larry Mack would say, it's like a cheese grater to those Goodyear Eagles. So I'm looking forward to a good race tonight. A lot of quick guys, a lot of contenders. Sean Brightsman stole the show last week in Phoenix. Maybe somebody can top him here tonight in Atlanta.
He didn't steal the show. He dominated the show, man. Nobody could absolutely hang with that driver there of Sean Brightsman. By the way, by request, he's supposed to have that fancy rap job that I told him I'd like to see tonight. We'll see how all that goes on. There's the Monster Energy colors in the number 25 of Ryan Bloom working his way down the back straightaway. The Chevrolet. I'll tell you another thing, too. Jason got a lot more drivers here signed in tonight than what we had last Wednesday night as well.
Yeah, just a few, and obviously, though, but that's just because some guys saw the product, obviously, from last Wednesday night, and they were like, you know what, I'm going to go give this a try. So they came out here. Joshua Cushman, I believe, he's one of them. I think Chad Malik, Carl Burke, few of those guys, I believe, are new to the Gen 4 series here.
Paul Newton's new.
Yeah, and so is Paul Newton as well. He's new to the Gen 4 series here that James Vining started up. And James is actually having a great run in practice, currently 4th up on the board. But this track is going to be a handful for these drivers here tonight, Wesley. Really, really loose, multi-groove racing. You're dealing with 1,000 horsepower underneath that hood. These guys thought Phoenix was tough a week ago. Wait until you drive here tonight at Hotlanta.
Paul Newton working his way around the racetrack right now for qualifying as he climbs the banking off of turn number 4 through the dog leg back to the start-finish line. Paul Newton will crack the top, and he's in 7th, 31.042, 31.042 seconds. Right now, Ryan Bloom, 37.89. Whoa, hold on there, Newton. A little loose there on the back stretch there, Jason. Wow.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, about this track, is this track is just so loose off the corners. You'll see a lot of guys slipping and sliding off turn 2, and then especially off turn number 4. And don't just think that off the corner these guys are going to get loose, Wesley. These guys can get loose in, they can get loose in the center. They can get loose at any point throughout those turns from 1 all the way to 4. And then going through the tri-oval is going to be hard when these tires are worn out. And when you're dealing with 1,000 horsepower, the car that I can compare this to, like I did last week with Ryan Bloom when I was talking to him, I told him that the COT chassis was by far the hardest car that I've ever driven when it came to the stock car aspect on iRacing. And then this thing came along, and it's a close second, in my opinion. It's not that hard to drive to me, but that's just my style, per se. I like the high horsepower. I can handle it. But when it came to the COT, you cannot drive at Charlotte through the tri-oval full throttle. You are about 3/4 on the throttle. That's what these guys are going to be dealing with here today, because you're going so fast through that tri-oval dogleg, what they call it, that if you just barely get on that throttle to full throttle at some point when those tires are worn, you could very well be spinning out, hitting the wall, and so forth going on here tonight.
Troy Daggett down the back straightaway, the 99 Fastenal Ford colors. Left throw back to Carl Edwards as he works his way around the speedway here. Ryan Bloom still the fast man. What do you know, Jason? Toby Ritter's another solid qualifying run for the Clifford machine, the 23. And Troy Daggett's going to crack the top 5 and 4th.
Yeah, and Toby Ritter's too finished in the top 3 just a week ago at Phoenix, and he was very, very strong. Obviously, Sean Brightson was in a zip code of his own. He was practically running his own race there just for fun. But, yeah, there's a lot of guys here. You're going to see, look at Troy Daggett. He is the only one I've seen absolutely ripping that top side here tonight. He's doing a great job of it. He's getting a little loose, but there is going to be a lot of speed there on the long run when you start to wear out, just like you would nowadays with any car. But especially with these cars, the more horsepower you have, the more the tires wear out, the more of a chance you're going to have to be able to run multi-groove at a track like Atlanta. And just from running the top side, Troy Daggett was able to go to 4th, so he didn't even bother to go to the bottom at all during his qualifying laps, which was very interesting. I would have thought maybe on the first lap he would have jumped down to the bottom of the top and then went up to vice versa. But we'll have to see how he does tonight. I expect there to be a lot of multi-groove racing, though, once the tires do, in fact, wear.
Yeah, this is the Northwest Gen 4 Cup League. And again, this is a fun series. 5 weeks. We're in week number now of 5. Next week, we're going to the Chicago Street Course. That's going to be really exciting. Ready to see how that goes. And as all this transitions, they've added on more laps. We've given the drivers another set of tires. Obviously, the pit window somewhere between 43 to 48 laps is what we were informed. So there might be that one pit stop race in the game here. And the question is, could we see another green flag race like we saw at Michigan last week?
Yeah. Phoenix last week was very interesting.
Phoenix.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. We get caught up. There's so many different racetracks, obviously. But a racetrack tonight like Atlanta, it very well, Wesley, could get out to a strung out race. But again, tire management, my friend. That is what you're going to have to do here tonight, running that bottom, saving the tires, maintaining that throttle to a certain pace, and getting in that rhythm, sort of like you would at a short track with these cars. That's what these guys are going to be dealing with here tonight. It's going to be a fun one, and I'm looking forward to it.
Let's give you the starting lineup for this event, round 2 here tonight. Atlanta Legacy Track. We'll go for the first 7 cars, and then Jason will give you the rest of the lineup. Fast qualifier to the outside, Toby Ritter's row 1. Row Dixman and Troy Daggett. Row number 3 will find James Vining, the Catman, and Stephen O'Hare. And that's, of course, your first 3 rows there, Jason.
Yeah, and then the next 3 rows, you got row 4, Robert Gamble, Paul Newton right there. And row number 4, row 5, Jeff Stabnow. Chris White joins in the 47 machine this week. Row 6, Josh Cushman there, the 95, the legend Frank Harris in row number 6. And then row number 7, rounding out the field, Chad Malik and Carl Burke in the number 53.
And right now, Carl Burke might be a scratch. We haven't seen him officially committed to the server yet. A lot more cars than what we had last week for sure, but 13 looks like it might be the commitment. Let's take a look at the Kaufman creative weather conditions leading up to tonight's event here at the Legacy Atlanta track here for the Northwest Gen 4 Cup Fun Series. 83 degrees the air temp, wind speed at 6 miles per hour, mostly cloudy skies, and the track temperature is around 98 degrees. I got a feeling, Jason, as we approach this race midway, it's going to climb for sure.
Yeah, it's going to climb. I mean, they do call it Hot Atlanta for a reason. I've called some races this week. I've seen some hotter track temperatures, but with these cars, with these track temperatures, it's going to be slippery. It's going to be all sliding for these guys here tonight. And if your drivers like Ryan Bloom, Toby Ritters, you want to make sure you get a good start. Don't spin the tires and sail it off down there into 1 and try to check out from the rest of the field. But we'll have to see. Obviously, keeping my eye tonight on Sean Brightsman, last week's winner at Phoenix. Practically, I believe, led every single lap here last week. He's going to be fast for sure. But Toby Ritters was right there in second and third the whole race. Same with Ryan Bloom. Those 3 guys are going to be the stout ones to look out for tonight.
Yeah, with the exception of the couple of times he forfeited the lead to come down to the pit lane. It cycled right back around to him getting the top spot in that number 3 position here tonight for Sean Brightsman. Ryan Bloom, Toby Ritters on the front row. Round number 2 ready to go as the pace car gets ready to drop onto the pit lane. We're looking for the field to come into the Geico starter zone. Green flag is about to fly. We're underway. Round 2 from Atlanta, a virtual race. Look at Ritters making a big move on the outside, splitting Bloom, Brightsman on the bottom, and they're going to put in. Well, look at this. In less than a half a lap there, Jason, and you've got Bloom falling all the way back to 3rd. Ritters is in the lead.
Yeah, and Ritters was able to take the lead because Ryan Bloom spun the tires on the start, went through the sucker hole in the middle, and was able to gather it back up to 3rd. Now side by side for the race lead, back to single file. Brightsman trying to take it over from Toby Ritters as they work their way into 1 after completing lap number 1. Ritters your leader in the 2.
It is a 100-lap race here at Atlanta tonight. Down the back stretch, Toby Ritters in the lead quickly, man. He put that car 23 up to the front. Sean Brightsman, Phoenix winner now to 2nd. Look at James Vining now getting into the top 5. He's in 3rd and 4th. And right now this all goes on as they cross the line, put another lap on the board. It's Ritters now being the man that's showing the momentum in the early going.
A nice little battle going on right here between Stephen O'Hare, Troy Daggett, and Chris White, who continues to rip the outside, just like Troy Daggett did in qualifying. And you could just see, Wesley, the amount of momentum that outside lane carries on corner exit, if you get a good enough exit, that is. And the 47 brushes the wall on entry just a little bit. Some great battling right here as they work their way off 4, and Chris White nearly loses it, gets a little loose, and he's going to lose not 1 but 2 positions here as he falls back behind Paul Newton heading into 1.
Watching those drivers also fight the sunshine as well here on this mostly cloudy day here in the virtual Atlanta track. Right now, Ritters is the man of the top spot. Brightsman second, Bloom in third. Vining and Daggett right now. There's a battle for sixth. As we saw O'Hare and Newton going at it, this all simmers down as they work their way across the line.
And battle now for the top spot once more. Sean Brightsman trying to go to the inside of Toby Ritters, but Ritters hanging very tough in that red, black, and white number 23 machine down the back straightaway. He's got about a 2.5 car length gap over Sean Brightsman while he works the top seat. Brightsman works the bottom with Ryan Bloom in tow, back by about a car length and a half, this time by off 4 to the line to complete lap number 5.
Yeah, 5 laps into this 100-lap race. By the way, there was a sim time of 2 hours and 15 minutes in case we need to go that far. Obviously, we mentioned that they're given one set of tires plus the set of tires that they started the race on. Pit window between 43 to 48 laps. You know, obviously, Jason, we're seeing some guys go really hard on the start like Ritters and Brightsman. Obviously, Zach out very quickly here doing that in the early going. Can they make it up to lap 43 before they use them up?
Yeah, they definitely can. It's just going to be a matter of the more you use your tires, the more you're going to wear them out, obviously. They can easily make it to the lap 40, lap mark before they're going to have to pit on fuel. It's just these tires are going to be absolutely shot. Probably in real life they'd be cording and everything like that. But, I mean, these guys have been having one heck of a battle as Brightsman has a huge moment off turn number 4. Got a little loose. Almost clipped the left rear of Toby Ritters out of turn number 4. But Ritters has already fallen off his pace by a little bit more than half a second. And that's why Brightsman's been able to close right there in. They're both about half a second slower than what they were running at the beginning of this race. So already, Wesley, almost 10 laps in, and we're already having half a second of tire fall off.
They work off of turn 4, back through the dog leg. It's the start-finish line. Here's Sean Brightsman for the lead. On the bottom goes Brightsman. Ryan Bloom right there in tow. That's a 3-car battle up for that top spot. Hey, as we're closing in on 10 of 100 laps, 90 to go, one of the cool features that we've got for you tonight series, because it is a fun series, is the return, Jason, of the digger camera. Yes. Look at this.
Yeah, and that looks to be entering turn number 3. So when these guys come back around, you'll be able to see as they work their way into turn number 2. I mean, this is what I grew up with, I mean, digger was everything, man, for your kids. I mean, my sister wasn't even a race fan back then, but she knew who digger was, that's for sure. And here we go, right through there. Don't hit him, man. He's down there. He's down there. He's trying to dig his hole, get away. Uh-oh, here goes one car. Oh, well, there goes our camera. There goes our $1,000 camera right there, but thankfully this is just a simulator. But yeah, it's so fun to have that back. And I mean, again, it's so cool to see these cars on track here on iRacing thanks to their huge screw-up. That was a blessing in disguise, actually. And, I mean, it's just so cool seeing these things back on track. So cool with the amount of camera angles we're able to capture here from the track that basically, if you really want to think about it, Wesley, no longer exists. This track was reconfigured, obviously, still into the 1.5-mile length, but super speedway, way more degrees of banking, a little bit narrower, a little bit wider at some points and here and there. And then, obviously, it is now a super speedway type racing track at 1.5 miles. Yeah, so it's always cool to see that we can go back to this 2008 scanned version of Atlanta and race on the old abrasive surface.
Yeah, in my opinion, I'm a new fan of that track. Ever since they repaved it and made it, I think we've seen some spectacular NASCAR sanctioned races at the new Atlanta Motor Speedway. But thanks to iRacing, and like with this fun series, you have the opportunity to reminisce and make your own racing memories as Toby Ritters is trying to do that here now. Powers up on the outside. Battles around Brightsman. Pulls away from Bloom. The interval now about a second as they work their way back into turn number 3 of banking.
Brightsman's just continuing to utilize that bottom to the best of his ability while Toby Ritters feels the most comfortable up at the top of the racetrack. But I tell you what, Wesley, as this run progresses little by little, Toby Ritter's tires, he's going to wear out just a little bit. The more he moves around on that top side, the more he's going to wear out that right front and wear out the right rear. Basically, both those right side tires in general. It's going to be very difficult for him to hold off the 46 and the 25. I really do think once the 46 and the 25, if and when they do decide to move to the top side, they'll be in dirty air because of Ritters and because of Bloom behind Brightsman too. I think they're going to have a huge run. They're going to have a really nice shot here to try to pass Toby Ritters.
It's Toby Ritters, the leader. Sean Brightsman in second. We've got, by the way, Joshua Cushman on pit road. Our early unscheduled pit stop for the 95. Already multiple laps down here in this race, getting it started. As we mentioned, Toby Ritters is the leader, Sean Brightsman second, but that might be a for naught as Ryan Bloom powers on his inside as they work their way out of turn number 4 to the line to put 15 on the board.
Into 3 and 4, Sean Brightsman was basically kind of laying off a little bit. Ryan Bloom was rolling center a lot better than Bloom, or not Bloom, but Brightsman tried to get on the gas early. He kind of got a little bit out ahead of the 25, then kind of had to whoa it up, say, whoa, horsey. And he had to tell that horsepower underneath the hood that it was a little too much there on exit, had to gather it back up, but he was able to clear the 25 of Ryan Bloom as they worked their way to 3 and 4 this time by continuously lap after lap, stronger than Ritters, and now the battle is on for the race lead. The closest we've seen it this time by at the line, lap number 17 will go up on the board with Brightsman trying to go for the lead on Ritters into 2.
Remember this Northwest Gen 4 Fun Cup Series will go another 3 weeks after tonight as well, and then we get right back to it again after Labor Day. Jason, I'm sorry. Justin Prince and I will cover the trucks. Jason and I will cover the fixed setup series. Is again, Jason, the fixed setup cars have been taken off for at least about a 10-week stretch, of course, with a couple of off nights as well, about 12, 13 weeks. They come back on September 6th. Michigan, and believe it or not, they will be running Legacy Atlanta on September 13th.
Oh boy, day after my birthday, so a little nice birthday gift there for my 22nd. Can't wait to see that for sure, because trucks at Atlanta were one of my favorites to run. I ran a lot of races here. Did you see some of these guys having their hands absolutely full, like last week's winner, Sean Brightsman? This track has been an absolute favorite of mine on the iRacing service. Was able to nab a couple Truck Series wins here in the fixed official stuff a couple of years ago. So I absolutely love this track, this configuration, the surface, everything about it. It's going to be fun. And Wesley, you talk about a great point, though, about the Xfinity Series or the fixed setup series that these guys normally run on Wednesday nights here. They usually, have been running that. And then we've taken off. We've run the GT3 series. We're from Robert Gamble. Now we're taking on the Gen 4 series that James Vining started up. It's all seat time, and this makes these guys better drivers, especially something with a crap ton of horsepower, and especially if they're a stock car like this. This is just going to make these guys better, like you've seen Toby Ritters and Chris White continue to be better here week after week every single time we've run something.
Yeah, all right, working their way again. Bloom getting around Ritters for that top spot so far, by the way. 20 laps into this race now at the line. No problems. We had a couple of thrills a couple of times with the car getting sideways. I think that was actually the Paul Newton car right there in the top 5 there. It got a little loose, but once again, they got right back rolling again. Everything's been clean as they work their way down the back stretch. Bring back the digger camera. I think they fixed it. Into turn 3. There he goes. Yeah.
So fun to see that camera back all the time. I absolutely love that thing too. And you know what I love too, Wesley? With these high horsepowered engines, with the 1,000 horsepower underneath these hoods, and with the downforce they have and everything like that, and the way that the tires wear, get this. We almost have 2.5 seconds of fall off since the first 22 laps of this race. Now, we have over 2.5 seconds worth of fall off almost. And oh, look at this. That's the 41 machine, Stephen O'Hare. But man, it's just so fun to see these cars get super, super worn out on their tires.
And by the way, Jason, to elaborate on that, and we talked about it last week, is look at this 3-car fight for the lead. Hustling, and to maneuver around one another. 1 minute it's going to be Ritters. The next minute it's Ryan Bloom. And don't count out Sean Brightsman. He's ready to lick his chops and pounce on both of those guys in front of him, of those adversaries working their way in the corner. Cloud cover settling in again. But remember, Jason, this car started by a mistake by iRacing. And people said, we love it. 1,000 horsepower as they go off into the corner to one.
Yeah, and it was just a blessing in disguise, like I talked about, and I said it last week. Originally, during their usual season update, iRacing was updating the ARCA car and accidentally dropped a 1,000 horsepower old cut engine into these things. And they put them on the service, and people were noticing and catching on to it and going, wait a minute, these things have 1,000 horsepower. They are going so much faster than what the normal ARCA cars run. They made a mistake. They had to have. Sure enough, iRacing acknowledged it, but due to the fan feedback and sim drivers like myself and others, iRacing was able to provide us with this gem. The Gen 4 car is back, baby. And aside from that, you can still drive the ARCA car like normal. It's just the same body style because ARCA at one point was running the Gen 4 cars. Years later, that was what the Gen 4 chassis were used for, was the ARCA series. So they didn't go to complete waste. Now they're all over the place throughout the country. But with that, iRacing gave us this blessing in disguise, and we are racing here tonight from old Atlanta. I can't believe I'm saying that. And we're seeing the Gen 4 car make its return here.
Stephen O'Hare on pit entrance and now on exit there, pitted on lap number 22. Of course, going to be multiple laps down. He's joined Cushman, by the way, 20 laps down, which I believe Cushman has officially retired from the race 20 laps down. I think he's called it a night. He is out. Right now, there you see him all around the racetrack. We are 1/4 of the way through. By the way, this was supposed to be a 90-lap race. At the last minute, Jason, they made the decision. Let's put another 10 laps on the card. Let's bump it up to 100. And obviously, talks Vining about this series. You're going to see different things being tweaked or changed or amended or added because we're going to figure out what suits everybody best with series, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. And, obviously the more laps on the track is the better the race time for these guys when it comes to figuring out their racecraft, learning, seat time, etc. So it just makes them better drivers. And, so far we've had a pretty clean race. I'm very shocked that Toby Ritters was able to hold out on the outside for as long as he did. Ryan Bloom was able to make quick work of him. Eventually, once the tires really started to settle in big time by 2.5 seconds. But that's the thing. There's going to be a few adjustments probably here within the next few weeks with this Gen 4 series. We expect, obviously, lots of changes coming up. And here's the thing that this is awesome right here. Notice this, and this is totally sidetracked, but this is one thing about these cars. And the ARCA car was kind of like this, but this is what most of these higher horsepower cars have. Notice how Troy Daggett's offset is a little bit to the right with the steering wheel. That is how most of these cars are. It really kind of throws me off every time I've driven them. But, every time I have, it just kind of like you get used to it. It's a little odd not seeing the orange tape in the center of the wheel, basically. But, it's just a point where you have to just get used to it. These cars whoa, the 11 of Frank Harris. Big moment in front of Troy Daggett right there entering turn 1.
Closing in on 30 laps in this race when they come back to the line. They're on the back straightaway. There you see the 99 of Daggett's car fighting it right there. Behind him is Frank Harris. Ryan Bloom, the leader. Ritters is in second. Sean Brightsman right there in tow in third. Paul Newton is in fourth. There you see the interval on each of these drivers. Right now, Chris White, the top 5. 4.5 seconds almost there, Jason, your top 5 here in Atlanta.
Yeah, they're all having very, very, very stout runs here tonight. And then you go throughout the top 10 right now. You have Jeff Stabnow, LSRTV zone there, sitting in 6th. Robert Gamble, the guy who started up that GT3 series a few weeks ago, had a blast calling that stuff, especially at VIR and also Canadian Tire. He resides right now in the 7th spot. Troy Daggett with the Carl Edwards Nationwide Series throwback in 8th. The legend Frank Harris 9th, and Chad Malik, your top 10. All these guys single file right now, though, but they're still figuring out these cars. As you look at James Vining, the guy who started this all up, comes off pit road entering 1.
Yeah, all of this happening now as we do see Vining come down to the pit lane or exit off road. As right now he just pitted on lap number 30. I got to think here, Jason, they said the fuel window would between 40 to 48 laps, 43, 48 laps is what we were told. Obviously, that's about 10 laps away before the official pit window opens. This race going by fairly clean. We're 10 minutes into it. Not any problems whatsoever. Biggest thing is I think fighting the handling from the sun to the clouds.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the track has continued to change right now. We've gone up a few degrees in track temperature since the start of this race right now. On my time and scoring link, it says about 102. We started with about 98, 96 degrees. So the track temp is going up a little bit despite the cloud cover. You can see the sun peeking through the clouds ever so often. Whoa, big moment for Jeff Stabnow and Chris White entering turn 1. They nearly made contact. That could have caused our first caution of the night. Thankfully, they don't do that as the 24 is able to clear the 47. But handling is obviously, Wesley, like you said, a big factor with these cars. It's all driver preference. And I really do think that Toby Ritters has really taken a liking to this car. I know a few people in the chats have said that too. I think it was Russ Ludwig said that. And, that could be a thing. Some guys prefer higher horsepower. Some guys like lesser horsepower. And Toby's just been able to really grasp it. So is Sean. Ryan Bloom, obviously your top 3 because they were top 3 last week. All driver preference and handling is a huge, huge thing here with these cars tonight.
Sometime from now, we'll start to see them make their way onto the pit lane. As right now, we are watching Sean Breitzman peel onto the pits real earlier than expected, Jason. He might be going for the undercut on everyone else like Bloom and Ritters and Newton now on pit road.
Well, I tell you what, they better pit this time by because now that Sean Breitzman is coming into the pits now, sure, he's undercutting it, but when he goes back out there, think about this, Wesley, he is going to be faster than these guys by 2.5, almost 3 seconds. So you're going to have to pit this time by. I think Robert Gamble's looking to come to pits this time by. Yes, he is. He's starting to slow down, gets on the apron. Here comes Frank Harris, and Ryan Bloom is on track as well. Toby Ritters, though, stays out and retakes the lead into 3.
Yeah, Ritters and Newton and Stabnow right now your top 3 that have not come down to the pit lane. I'm thinking you need to pit within the next couple of laps. I know we're pitting off sequence than what we were talking about, them going between 43 to 48 laps, but here comes the strategy now, and obviously here comes the leader, Toby Ritters on pit road. Paul Newton on pit road. Get on the brakes so you're not busted for speeding. Stabnow follows behind on pit road as he squeals the tires, entering the pit lane. Chris White, correction. Stabnow goes to the lead.
Yeah, a lot of guys coming into the pits very, very aggressively. Probably the most aggressive one there was Paul Newton coming in. Toby Ritters was very aggressive as well, and we'll have to see how this shakes up, especially with Toby Ritters pitting 2 laps later than the 46. Will the 46 be able to leapfrog the 2 who were in front of him at this point? We'll have to see. Jeff Stabnow, though, continuing to stay out, and he's about to get passed by that is the 133 or the 333 machine, James Vining. He'll go by him right now, I think, to put himself on the lead lap. Here comes the 41 machine. So Jeff Stabnow's got to pit pretty soon, I assume.
Getting ready to put 40 laps on the board. There you see Stabnow being swallowed up by all these other cars that are faster that have already pitted. And Jeff Stabnow, I think, realizes, man, I have got to get down here to the bottom of the apron. And he still does not do that, Jason. Now, here comes more cars on pit road. And Malik in the Haviland colors on pit road. And all this going on now as we see Stabnow climb the bank in turn number 2.
Yeah, continuing to stay out every single lap. I think he's just trying to kind of maximize that fuel when he does come into the pits here, more than likely, because he knows that he's going to have to pit probably again, possibly for fuel, because when you look at it, I mean, these guys aren't going to be able to go on another full tank of fuel more than likely. So I think that's what Jeff Stabnow is doing. He wants to make it to a point to where he might only have to pit just this one time. So strategy kind of is coming into play right here as we're approaching the halfway point in this race.
But yeah, because here's something to think about, Jason. We were told between 43 to 48 laps would be the window for these drivers to at least make one pit stop. They've got a new set of tires. Obviously, they're given, I think it was 2 fast repairs because this is a new series. Other than that, you saw drivers peeling onto pit road probably 10 to 12 laps prematurely than what the scheduled pit window was. They're probably not going to be able to go to lap 100, especially if this still stays. This strategy for Jeff Stabnow might be the upper hand of what he's working with.
Yeah, and that's actually very smart. I didn't really even think about that until my last comment just before, because James Vining had told us before the race, like you said, Wesley, 40 to 43, 48 laps was about a full tank of fuel. So even if it wasn't 50, if Jeff Stabnow pits, he's going to be really close on fuel. We'll have to see. I mean, he is significantly slower than the rest of the field, obviously being on old tires. So is Troy Daggett as well. This is going to be interesting. But
the man of that top spot. Daggett, Bloom, Brightsman, Vining, Newton, Gamble, Ritters, Harris, and White are right now your top 10. As pit stops await for Troy Daggett, he is now pitting, if you will, Jason. He's coming on the pit lane. Jeff Stabnow, still at full song. Not anymore. Coming onto the pit lane. He will pit now on lap number 47.
yeah, so he was able to maximize it pretty much almost to the T. Now the thing's going to be, is he going to save enough fuel to be able to make it to the end? Because these guys more than likely are going to have to pit because they only had that extra set of tires. So Jeff's going to take that extra set, obviously, that's laying in the pits. He's going to take a full tank of Sunoco Racing fuel there. And these guys are all going to have to pit again for fuel only, more than likely. So Jeff's thinking that he's going to be able to save just enough fuel for the next 40 or 52 laps here to make it all the way to the end. He's going to have to do a lot of saving if he's going to want to do that. But with that being said, he's going to be on fresh tires, so he's going to be able to make up a lot of time. But he lost a lot of time just from staying out for so long.
Yeah, sure did. The strategy in a different world compared to everyone else. Everyone else came onto the pit lane between the mid-30s, 36, 37, 38. And it cycles back around, by the way, to Ryan Bloom going back to the lead. Sean Brightsman, same time he pitted a lap before Bloom did. He's 4 seconds back, or 3 1/4 back right now. Jeff Stabnow falls all the way back 15. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. He is all the way back in the top 10. He's still on the lead lap, but he is probably about 30 seconds back to the leader. Obviously, we'll watch that as we are closing in on halfway when they come to the line this time by Ryan Bloom. 50 laps in, 50 laps to go with, of course, tonight's next round, round number 2 of what is the Northwest Gen 4 Cup Fun Series. We're at the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of radio identification racing series on CRN, the Community Radio Network.
At Click It RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history at this location. RV sales and service has been part of this community for decades. We knew there was... At Click It RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
At Click It RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history at this location. RV sales and service has been part of this community for decades. We knew there was an incredible opportunity here, but to see where we've come in just a year is incredible. None of it would be possible without the patronage and support from this community. So whether it be a more convenient and accessible service drive, a fully stocked parts department, or this amazing sales facility, what drives this team daily is making sure our customers leave here with the best possible experience.
We just wanted to go ahead and get that commercial break out of the way, let you come back here, join us at Legacy Atlanta. Welcome back to coverage round number 2. You're checking out the Northwest Gen 4 Cup Fun Series. Say that. From virtual Atlanta, I'm Wesley Outland. There's your top 5 on the upper left of the monitor. Ryan Bloom, Sean Brightsman, Paul Newton, Toby Ritters, Chris White. Jason, your take of the first half of the races. We get ready for the mid-race report, and obviously we got the new contenders up in the front again that led in the early going, but we saw a really impressive, dominant run by Jeff Stabnow before he finally jumped out of the pit sequence on everyone else and came down to the pit lane, which, by the way, he is still mired in 10th.
Yeah, and he was able to get his lap back just a handful of laps ago, but now since he was so far back, these tires are eventually going to equalize. He's only faster than these guys by about a second, which you think that's a lot, but when you really think about it, if he keeps running hard, these tires are eventually going to equalize, but we'll have to see what happens here. But really the thing that I'm thinking about, obviously, is his strategy, which was very interesting to see. I was sure enough that he was going to come into the pits same as everybody else, but sure enough, he stayed out to the exact thing, or the exact lap time, pretty much, that James Vining had provided us with the information earlier today. And everybody else took the undercut, thinking to themselves, we need tires badly, and we need them now. And they're going to all have to pit again, besides the questionable call of Jeff Stabnow possibly not having to pit. We'll have to see how that follows through all the way to the checkered flag. But, I mean, Ryan Bloom and Sean Brightsman and Toby Ritters have been a class of the field all night long, and Bloom just got away from Ritters there before they took their green flag pit stops a handful of laps ago.
There's Frank Harris. He's outside the top 10 right now. He's in that 6th position. Robert Gamble right there behind him as well as those drivers work their way into turn number 3. There's the Lowe's colors. Obviously, hey, mad props to not only 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Jimmy Johnson, but also Chad Knaus, who willed his crew chief duties along with his championship run on many, many occasions, many, many wins. The 83-time NASCAR victor was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame class of 2024. Also, other people include Donnie Allison, obviously, and Janet Guthrie, the first female of racing in stock cars, inducted as well. Pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I've gone to the NASCAR Hall of Fame a couple times, and for anybody watching who hasn't been able to have a chance, if you're ever in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, please, oh please, go visit the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It's such a beautiful place. Even for people who aren't too familiar with racing, you can go. It's right down there in the heart of the city. I can't wait to live down there, hopefully within the next couple of years. I'm looking forward to it being in that area. Such a beautiful city, such a beautiful town. The people, the atmosphere, it just screams racing. And I tell you what, too, Wesley, a lot of these new people nowadays in today's world with, the next gen car and Kyle Larson coming onto the scene and dominating everything. And then a few years ago, Joe Gibbs Racing dominated everything. I tell you what, they wanted to complain about that and Kyle Busch dominating Xfinity Series. Growing up, man, it was Jimmy Johnson dominating everything there was. I watched that man win 5 championships in a row and saying, gosh dang it, every single year, all I wanted was a Dale Jr. championship. I never got that, but hey, I got 2 Daytona 500s out of it, so I can't be, too unhappy with that. But Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus, man, big round of applause to those two. They've done an exceptional job throughout their Cup Series career, obviously. And Jimmy Johnson, probably one of the all-time GOATs, if you could put him on the Mount Rushmore of NASCAR, tying the King and Dale Earnhardt. Great job by him and Chad Knaus and also Janet Guthrie as well.
Yeah, you'd have to definitely look at putting him in the Mount Rushmore in the category. Look at this now. It's your Virginia811.com. Call before you dig with care. And so far, no cautions. That's the caution information. No yellow flags. No caution laps, obviously. But the leads, Jason, have been full. And I have a feeling, unless something happens here down the end and strikes with about 40 laps to go or under 40 laps to go, that we're going to have another CF race. I'm not going to say the words, but I'll abbreviate it CF, like we did at Phoenix last week.
Yeah, it's a possibility, but we will have to see. I mean, like I said, I'm still wondering about Jeff Stabnow's call. These guys last pitted on lap 36, so when you take it and add 30 to it, obviously about 66. So they're going to have to pit coming up around lap 69, possibly, maybe lap 75 if they want to get that full tank of fuel that they were. And here we go. Toby Ritters into the pits this time to come in for fuel, locks it up.
Wow.
Oh, I think he might have sped coming in there. It looked like it, but it's hard to tell, obviously, from our vantage point up here in the booth. But here we go. I called it coming up to lap 69, lap 75. This was going to be it. And Toby Ritters is going to take that undercut here, and he's going to gas it up with fuel here.
The RCA breaks number 23 on road. This, no doubt, will be the money stop, and I think he's trying to go for the undercut on other drivers here. Is right now we are watching these cars work. Chad Malik, James Vining off the corner. Right now, these guys are 7th and 8th on the racetrack. Ryan Bloom is the leader, 6 seconds now over Sean Brightsman. Ritters is back on track. He's on the bottom of the racetrack. Look at Malik going to the inside of the dog leg on Vining. Aerial coverage, by the way, on the back stretch is presented by LiveSimRacing.com. LSRTV, your home for sim racing. 30 3 laps to go when they come to the line. And there's a battle heating for 6th. Actually, that's 7th and 8th cross the line back to 1.
And I tell you what, just from that one driver taking a pit stop being Toby Ritters, guess who was able to get out ahead of Toby Ritters? That being Jeff Stabnow, who gains another position, this time on James Vining through the back straightaway, this time by into turn number 3. So we'll have to see. I don't know. These guys might have another set of tires possibly behind the wall because Toby Ritters is flying right now. But from what we were told, it was only one set of tires behind the wall this time by 31.797 for Toby Ritters. So I believe these guys might have had another set of tires possibly.
So we see Stabnow working off the back straightaway along with Chad Malik, and that is right now the battle heating up for the 7th position. Here comes Paul Newton. He'll give up 3rd, Jason, and come down to the pit lane. Will this be the money stop on a throwback car that looks like it could be a Dr. Pepper machine? Your favorite soda.
Yeah, my favorite soda. It's throwing it back to, I believe it was Ari Leyendijk. You're not Ari Leyendijk. I can't remember who it was. I have the die cast of it from when Spider-Man came out in 2002, but that's what that car is supposed to represent, the old number 26 Dr. Pepper machine that I absolutely loved. Wish I could have got to see that race. So Paul's into the pits. Now Sean Brightsman is into the pits this time by. So we'll have to see what's going to happen. I genuinely do believe these guys had to have added another extra set of tires probably before this race because Toby Ritters is running the fastest lap times right now on the racetrack. But we'll still have to see what Jeff Stabnow does, though. Will he possibly be able to stay out super long? We'll have to see as more and more drivers come into the pits.
Look at Malik up the racetrack. So he'll open up the door down to the 41 of O'Hare, who's already multiple laps down. And Frank Harris is fighting to try to find a way to get to the pit lane. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of guys also coming in too. James Vining, Robert Gamble, those other 2 drivers, they're in this time by. As you look at the Jimmy Johnson throwback machine, then that 333 machine, they're going to be rolling into their pit box this time by. We'll have to see. Let's take a look here right here at the 33 machine to see if they do in fact put 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on it. And from what it looks like, I see the 54 getting jacked up. So from what it looks like, Wesley, these guys do have an extra set of tires in the pits right now.
Watching all of this go on. By the way, to answer your question, it was at one time a number 26 and it was at one time a number 50 car. Ron Hornaday drove the number 26 Dr. Pepper car, and also in the another time, the 50 car in the Busch Series was driven by Tony Roper. Those are the 2 drivers you're referring to in the Dr. Pepper car.
Yeah, I absolutely love that car. Growing up, never got to see it, obviously, since I was a 2000s baby back in 2001. But sure enough, always cool to see throwback schemes. That's the beauty of these things. You know, I know the MLB, the NFL, they do their throwbacks once a year, but it's like every given week you could practically do a throwback here on iRacing. And it's just so cool to see all these throwback schemes. We're looking at that Halvoline car right there, the 08 of Chad Malik. That being a throwback to the Robert Yates machine. You could throw that back to pretty much anybody throughout the 90s. Davey Allison, you could throw it back to Ricky Rudd. Dale Jarrett, obviously. Lots of guys. Oh, yeah. You know, there's just so many different paint schemes out here running tonight that just look so good. I will say that I love Toby Ritter's paint scheme. I will say I am not a guy for colored rims, but the white does look very good on that 23 Chevy.
It does look very sharp for sure. The white walls on the Goodyear tires here. Here on the Chevrolet number 23 of Ritters, who, by the way, no harm, no foul, no penalty on the bank for the RCA brakes entry. Right now, he is back into the top 5. He actually just fell back to 6th. All right, 25 laps to go. No caution, and we're watching everybody peel onto pit road. Jason, that pitted before Jeff Stabnow did. This is in favor of Stabnow, by the way. He is in the number 2 spot with under 25 to go here in Atlanta.
And we'll have to see. All that he can hope for is that those guys behind him use up their tires quickly. And now with 25 laps to go, that is going to be the difference. Right now, Sean Brightsman, first guy on the freshest set of Goodyear Eagles. He is only 21 and a half seconds back, and that gap continues to close lap after lap. I just don't know if this strategy, from the way it's shaping out with the stats we have, if Jeff Stabnow is going to be able to hold them all off. But if it does, man, it's an absolute miracle.
It'll be a long time coming for the driver Jeff Stabnow to win in what is a next-gen Cup car. He's not won in a pretty lengthy while in a Cup ride. Obviously, last year, whenever we had the next-gen Cup or the Northwest Cup Series, he finally got himself a win, got himself a truck win. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a slump for the driver of the number 24. But here's the deal, Jason, and I say this to Justin on Monday nights. I say this to you on Wednesday night. He's been consistent.
Oh, yeah.
He's not found victory lane, but he's been that consistent top 3, top 5 guy every week.
Yeah, you talk about it, too. Last year, he had that win earlier in the Cup Series at Kentucky. He had a truck win. I believe he won actually this year as well in the Fixed Series. I believe it was either against Paul Newton or Ryan Bloom. It was a side-by-side battle all the way to the line on the green-white checkered. Was able to nab a Click It RV Fixed Series win. So he has been consistent. You are absolutely right. And he usually just gets involved in people's messes that are just, unfortunately, their fault, not really his. So Jeff Stabnow, very, very consistent, and it would be interesting to see if he could pull it off here tonight, approaching 20 to go.
Looking at the stats, April 5th, 2023, that was when, of course, Jason mentioned the Kansas win for the Northwest Fixed Setup Series for Jeff Stabnow. That was the last time he went to victory lane. The last time he went to victory lane in Cup was October 3rd, 2022, right at the start of the playoffs. If you remember, I think it was one of the cutoff races, Jason.
Yes, sir.
That he won to put himself into the next round to run for a championship. And that was, of course, in October of 2022, whenever he picked up the win in the Northwest Cup Series. His last truck win, boy, been a while, JR. July 30th, 2020 at Mossport. That's the last time he won a truck event.
Wasn't even a part of LSRTV, was just fresh out of high school, man. It's been a long time. I've had a lot of stuff go on in my life since Jeff Stabnow last won a truck race. So hopefully he can get back to victory lane soon. And even if he does win tonight, it's still a great look for him, despite it only being a fun league as we deem it. It's going to be interesting to see how Jeff returns. Yeah, and it will, it's a win, obviously. And it's going to be interesting to see how Jeff comes back when this Fixed Setup Series does return come Labor Day, So I'm very interested to see how Jeff does in the car. I know he likes it. Whoa, you see him get really loose there off turn number 2. But it's going to be interesting to see. But one thing that's interesting right now on the track, Ryan Bloom closing that gap in. It's summer right now, and it's the Jersey Shore where I'm located right now. It's looking like this could be a Jersey Shore shark attack here in just a second. Ryan Bloom is Jaws, and Jeff Stabnow is the victim. 5.5 seconds separates those two now with 18 laps to go.
Cue up the Jaws theme, no doubt. We're watching Ryan Bloom trying to cut off the interval to Stabnow right now in the car number 25. As right now, that's the only great battle that's probably happening on the racetrack that Cody Demers is showing. As well, here we go. Something's starting to heat up here with the Stabnow. Stabnow letting Jason. I would let all those cars bypass me. Go after it. Go get around me. Stabnow right now in the lead. Second lead. 17 to go. And remember, Jason, like hell last Wednesday night, at Phoenix with this car. Spun out several times in the dog leg, if you remember, at the Legacy Phoenix. He got this track figured out right now. And again, trying to put all of his cards on the table, making that pit strategy different than anyone else. With 16 now, making 15 laps to go, looking to try to put himself to victory lane as we watch James Vining, by the way. He's in 8th, 3.5 seconds back. That's amazing, Jason. The interval from 1st to 8th is less than 3 seconds.
Yeah, right now it's very interesting out on the racetrack, and Ryan Bloom is quickly closing in on Jeff Stabnow. Gap is now under 1.5 seconds. I think Ryan Bloom's going to get there, and if Jeff Stabnow wants any chance at this win, he's going to need a caution, and he's going to get a caution now as Dad gets into the wall off turn number 2, was able to collect it, though, and save it, and here comes Ryan Bloom, only 0.8 seconds back up at the front. He's about to get around Jeff Stabnow in just a moment.
Jeff Stabnow working off the corner. You're going to see popping into view the Monster Energy Machine unleash the beast here at Virtual Atlanta. And with 15 laps to go, it's pucker time now. The payout window opens for round number 2 of the Northwest Gen 4 Cup Fun Series. Here comes Bloom, reeling him in like bait on a hook, if you will, Jason, to the inside. Not even going to try to fight. Stabnow lets Bloom go back to the lead with 13 to go as they work off turn number 4.
And there goes Bloom. He just ate his victim right there. That's one victim that Ryan Bloom has fallen for right there. Or not Ryan Bloom, but Jeff Stabnow has fallen as. So he's probably going to have to pit here more than likely pretty soon. I can't assume him going all the way. He's probably going to have to pit, but he's still hoping and praying for a caution right at this point.
Gotta wonder, with 12 laps to go, Jason, obviously I think Jeff Stabnow's just going to settle in and be where he's at. Pit, I really don't think he's going to. Now he's just going to try to do what he can to just get a solid top 5 finish. That's all he can do right now.
Yeah, it is all he can do right now, but he's going to fall here to Sean Brightsman, Paul Newton in just a handful of laps. We'll have to see Brightsman back by 3.5 seconds almost. Paul Newton is back by 3.5 seconds to Sean Brightsman, back 9 seconds to the leader for Paul Newton, that is. So we'll have to see. Everybody, though, driving with a handful. You see how hard Brightsman is trying to drive the car right now. I mean, he is much slower than Ryan Bloom by about 0.3 seconds. And Ryan Bloom has a few lap fresher tires than Sean Brightsman. And it's going to be interesting to see if Brightsman can close that gap to Ryan Bloom, but he's going to need a caution if it's going to happen.
And so far in this race, we have not seen a yellow flag. By the way, you want a quick statistic? Here's one for you. We're approaching lap number 90 when they come to the line. It'll be 10 laps to go in this race. The race last week, obviously, was 120 laps. It was caution-free in that event at Phoenix Raceway last week, if you will. Jason Rockefeller, that's 120 plus 90 right now. 210 caution-free laps for this new Northwest Gen 4 Cup Fun Series. And if they complete the rest of the distance, they will have gone 220 laps of racing in 2 weeks, caution-free.
Tell you what, I don't know if I'm watching the Northwest Division or if I'm watching the Cup race from Sunday at Richmond, because that race practically went green all the way up until Daniel Suarez spawned off the front bumper of Noah Gragson entering turn 3. But hey, 9 laps to go. You never know. We'll have to see what happens. This is surely enough looking like Ryan Bloom's race right now. But with that being said, Sean Brightsman still only back by 6.5 seconds. If he can just maintain a gap and continue to reel him in, possibly, he's just going to have to gain a second lap. I just don't think it's going to happen. Ryan Bloom's going to have to make a mistake, or there's going to have to be a yellow.
Hey, by the way, don't forget LSRTV and FTN, the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying series will be in action tomorrow night. Of course, Jason Rockefeller, Terry Radford on the call for that. And we're back again on Monday night. We'll just let you know that the Northwest Truck Series, presented by Click It RV, back on track. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the, of course, mecca of motorsports, the world center, the world's greatest race course. We'll have the trucks there. We're back at Chicago. I got to tell you, buddy, I'm looking forward to that race next Wednesday night. I think that it's really going to be something different besides these circle track events we've seen so far with that Gen 4 Cup car. With now 7 laps to go, looking at now Harris and Ritter's going at it for the top 5. Really looking forward to the road course at the street race at Chicago next Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I am still yet to see a real race here on iRacing at the Chicago street course. Obviously, we're going to be dealing with cars with a ton of horsepower that have literally no grip when it comes to being on a road course. So it should be fun to see that. I expect Paul Newton to be able to do something there. We obviously know him as the road course king, but hey, we saw some of these guys too, like Toby Ritters, Jeff Stout now competing in that GT3 series that we had presented by Robert Gamble. So maybe we'll see some guys do some good on the road course.
Stab now is pitting. He can't even go the distance here, Jason. Oh no, the play seat Chevrolet or the play seat Ford on pit road.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I just didn't think he was going to have enough. He pitted around lap 47, still could not go the distance. Sure enough, there he goes. Just was able to take fuel right there. And unfortunately, that's going to be an end probably to Jeff Stabnow's race. Unless there's a caution, he's going to be able to take some tires here when they do, in fact, possibly have a caution. But man, oh man, Ryan Bloom, after he got by Toby Ritters, was able to essentially pit a few laps later than Sean Brightson. It's been all him up at the front of the night. And by the way, fastest lap of the race by Ryan Bloom tonight, 30.965. So Ryan Bloom is continuing to show strength here in this Gen 4 car because he did finish in the top 3 last week, and here he is about to pick up a win if he can hang on for 3 more laps.
Sean Brightsman right there in tow in that second spot. Well, I want to say in tow with 3 to go. In second, but he's about 7 seconds the leader right now, Ryan Bloom. And you look at Ryan Bloom, successes in the Northwest. Jason, what a phenomenal year he's had. It all started probably last year when he got off the schneid, broke into victory lane, and once he figured these trucks out, figured out these cars, figured out these tracks, he has been on a rail. What's he got? 5 wins for him, most of anybody. 4 wins, I believe, in the figures. And now looking to make history again to be now another winner in race number 2 of this new Northwest Gen 4 Fun Cup Series ride at Atlanta.
Yeah, Ryan Bloom has been a guy that we've seen all season long. Every single time he's in, whatever it may be, he just performs, man. He's come around to take the white flag this time by. 1 lap to go for him. This is just going to be another thing that Ryan Bloom can say that he's won in.
Another phenomenal job. This was 100 laps on the 1.5 miles. When it's all said and done, another victory going to the driver there after 150 miles. This is the equivalent of what the old ARCA series used to run back in the day. Here he comes off of turn number 3. He will join Sean Brightsman from Phoenix. Here, flag to flag at Atlanta. Caution free again. Laps in the last 2 races for the Gen 4 Fun Setup Series of the Northwest. Ryan Bloom takes the win. Almost a 55-minute race. Caution free, Jason. Sean Brightsman, Paul Newton now as the rest of the top 5 cross the line on the podium.
220 laps, caution-free. Wesley, you talked about it, and sure enough, that's what it is. These guys are just running the cup race from Richmond in Stage 3 on Sunday, basically, these last 2 races. But what a job, though, all jokes aside, by Ryan Bloom, Sean Brightsman, Paul Newton, Toby Ritters, too. P4 tonight. I believe he finished P3 last week, so only one spot short of his best so far this season, obviously. And Ryan Bloom's going to burn it down here, and he's going to crack the back of the car like Jimmy Johnson, was told by Chad Knaus years ago when he won a race. So I guess that thing's cheating. I'm just kidding. Nah, but what a job by Ryan Bloom. Great thing to see these cars back on track here at Old Atlanta.
And let's get ready for the Northwest high five salute. Who's going to be the first person to go for the dagger? Oh, Ritters.
Toby Ritters.
Yeah. Well,
Frank tried.
And that really wasn't much impact there. I mean,
There's too much. We need somebody.
Somebody's got a bonsai through the grass.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, but Brightsman went for the button. A couple of cars got in the way like bowling. It was a dreadful 7-10 split.
I feel like I'm looking at that Toyota fan controller commercial where they had Tony Stewart doing donuts in the grass with his car being taken control of by a little kid. That's what I feel like I'm watching right now from that Toyota commercial from 2008.
Yeah. Oh, man. Caution free, as we mentioned, 100 laps here at Atlanta. Legacy Phoenix last week, 120 laps of racing. Oh, we got one on their lid on the front stretch. We've got Paul Newton upside down.
Oh, my
All right, let's take a look at the results for tonight. Round up. I'm sorry, we can't show you the results. We just have to be the rundown here. My apologies. Ryan Bloom is the winner. Obviously, Sean Brightsman second, 0.98. Caution-free race. Time of race, 55.50 seconds. 55 minutes, 0.50 seconds. Paul Newton is third. Toby Ritters is fourth. Frank Harris will finish in the top 5 with a solid run for him. Chris White, Robert Gamble, Jason, midway through your top 7 here at Atlanta.
Yeah, and the rest of the 7 drivers finish out. James Vining, 8th tonight. First driver, 1 lap down. Jeff Stabnow, he'll finish 9th. Stephen O'Hare will finish 10th. Troy Daggett, 11th. Chad Malik, 12th. Josh Cushman will finish 13th. And Carl Burke will finish 14th after not starting tonight's event.
One more time, over look at the Virginia 811 call before you dig. Caution summary, no cautions. 7 lead changes. Caution laps none. As again, if you're a stat guy, like 220 laps now have been caution free with this new car or this new series that the Northwest is running. That is entitled, of course, Northwest Gen4 Cup Fun Series. Coming up, Bloom, they're on deck. They stopped tearing their cars all to pieces. We'll grab a word with them on the podium. Don't go anywhere. We're back from Atlanta. This is coverage of iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. Congrats again to Ryan Bloom. Another win of his Northwest career.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Bates wasn't working for you.
Welcome back to virtual Atlanta coverage of the Northwest Gen4 Cup Fun Series. Round in the books. Wesley Outland, Jason Rockefeller, of course. Let's grab the podium, get there, third place man, and quickly get off the air. Paul Newton, another podium man. flag to flag race in Atlanta, but race definitely different than Phoenix for sure. Your take of things tonight.
Yeah, first race I've run in this car, so this car's a real handful. So the name of the game is just keeping the tires on it and keeping it pointed straight as good as you can. It always wants to turn left or even right on you, so just keep it under control and make your way to the front.
And Paul, obviously coming home P3 tonight, man. You just said first race for you driving these things. I asked these guys last week what their favorite thing was about this car. What is your favorite thing about this car that you've noticed from the 100 laps you did tonight?
My favorite thing about this car is how much it reminds me of NASCAR Racing 2003 season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the paint scheme I'm running tonight is actually the paint scheme I ran for my first league win ever 20 years ago. So it was really special to drive that car and drive it like we did back in the day.
I think we need to rename the series the Gen4 Throwback Series, because I think we got throwback cars and everybody's talking about the yesteryears of the early 2000s, no doubt. Paul, are you having fun with this car? Obviously, what's your of what we're going to see at the street road course at Chicago next Wednesday night?
I had a lot of fun with it tonight. That is a very tough course in Chicago. I'm definitely going to be there. I love that course. And I'm from Illinois originally, so it's a really cool track there, and I can't wait to drive it.
I mean, you got to be there. We call you the road course king for a reason, right?
You have to.
Always great catching up with you. What's your sponsors, man?
I want to thank Peel's California Mandarin, PaulNewtonDesign.com, and I don't have my list on me today, so thanks everybody watching. Thank you, LSRTV, as well.
There you go. We'll see what the road course king Paul Newton can do next week on the streets of virtual Chicago, the street race. He settles for a third place here tonight at Atlanta. Sean Reitzman, winner last week, obviously, at 120 laps in Phoenix. At the end of 100 laps at Atlanta, he'll settle for the podium. Sean, a lot of strategies, a lot of different pit stops when everyone else pitted and didn't. Your take of this race, and man, you'll settle for second tonight.
Yeah, overall, great race. A lot of fun. A lot of back and forth wheel movements to keep this car under control. Like Paul said, man, this thing does remind me of NASCAR 2003. Missed that that game, but I'm glad it moved into what we basically run nowadays. So awesome job from everybody in the Northwest Racing Series to do what they did tonight.
And Sean, congratulations on coming home second tonight, just one spot short of going back to back. What would you say makes this car for you when it comes to Atlanta and Phoenix? What configuration do you prefer? Do you prefer this one for Atlanta, or do you prefer Phoenix last week?
I like both of them. I like Phoenix. The old Phoenix is fun to run around in, and there's just kind of less chaos and restarts in a sense. And I like where the start finish line was and everything like that. But Atlanta, I love this old track. I think this just provides usually really, really good side-by-side racing. A lot of give and take has to be maintained throughout the race in order to race side-by-side. So I just enjoy it. Such a challenge to run this track. So I'd say this one I'd probably notch over Phoenix.
Well, Sean, where are we going to stay on the road course in Chicago next week, man? How much you're going to need to get before next Wednesday night?
Well, first I got to go by the track, and then I got to practice, and the latter probably won't happen until Wednesday, to be quite honest. Maybe Tuesday, but so it's going to be an interesting night. I don't foresee myself at the top of the leaderboard. I'll probably be, hopefully just outside of the top 5 or something like that for the guys that have been running it a bunch. But I can't wait. I'm excited to get it and start running it.
All right, buddy. Sponsors, we'll holler at you next week.
I just got to thank Brights Boutique, Northwest Racing Series, Ace Tech for bringing on a prize for this series, James Vining, everybody here at LSR TV. Thank you guys for everything you guys do, and we'll see you next week.
Now, I'm just spitballing here unofficially, Sean. I'm thinking with the win last last Wednesday night, and of course at Phoenix, and then a runner-up at Atlanta. I have a feeling unofficially you are the points leader for this deal. At least I would think it would be.
I think I looked and we're tied, both at 90 points.
Wow. All right. Well, we'll see how all that shakes for the streets race of Chicago next week. Again, Sean Brightsman, winner last week. Phoenix tonight in Atlanta. He'll settle for the bridesmaids. Victory Lane, Ryan Bloom. Man, a win. Another win in the Northwest season of 2023. Doesn't matter whether it's the trucks or the fixed setup cars, or even in these cars. Ryan, you just like Atlanta. What was the payoff to have the success of winning this event? Congratulations to you, buddy.
Wow, thanks a lot, man. That was a lot of fun. Great job by everyone keeping that green flag. Like Sean and Paul said, these cars are a handful. A lot of turning right and being able to just hang on to it and kind of steer through it. And I think that was the key. I don't think I did a great job saving my tires. I was just trying to hold on to it and make best lap times I could. So, yeah, it was. I kind of had at the last pit. I knew I had a couple laps on Sean. I know he pitted a couple laps for me, so I knew I had probably a couple laps, and thought the race was with Sean there to get the checker. So I just want a little bit fresher tires. And Jeff pulled off a great strategy. It didn't occur to me to even go 50 laps to try to pull that off one stop. So great job by him. And it was just a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying driving these cars.
Congratulations, Ryan, by the way, on your win tonight here at Atlanta. And obviously everybody talks about the high horsepower, the way that these cars handle. Would you say, besides the handling aspect, and if you take it all in general and bundle it up all into one in separate categories with how this car reacts, would you say that saving tires is probably the hardest thing with this car?
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, these just naturally going to be tight. I think if you had these too loose, there wouldn't be any right rear tire left. So it's definitely a balance trying to manage your tires, and knowing that right front's going to be really hard to save. So just trying to balance it out as best you can with the steering inputs and throttle, a lot of throttle control, and really I don't know if there is saving these. Just kind of go as hard as you can while holding on to it as best you can, really.
Ryan, final question. Segue this into your sponsor so we can get off the air, my friend. What do you attribute to the success that you keep having in the Northwest this year, whether it's in the Cup or the truck, or even now in this, the fixed setup series now, and obviously now with this Gen 4 car?
Oh yeah, it's just a lot of different factors. Just time put in, having great teammates. Having great drivers like Sean and Jeff and Dan, and just having them in the series when I came in. I'm a really competitive guy, so I just wanted to find a way to at least hang with those guys and hopefully eventually beat them. So that was a big driving force there. Just wanting to get better and compete. I love this series. It's competitive, and I just like competing, and it's just a lot of fun. So I different factors. I've also upgraded on my equipment. That certainly helps with better wheel and pedals, and just constantly learning, especially on the truck side and the setup side. Just constantly learning setups and how to get better and faster and find speed. So a lot of different things, but it's been a blast the last 3 years I've been in it.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, there's the winner, Ryan Bloom. Ryan, before I let you go, thank your sponsors, bud.
Yeah, I just want to thank Click It RV. I know our teammate Kevin's been busy selling RVs this week. Big sale going out at I think it's Pendleton, so he's real busy with that, and probably making lots of money. So I want to thank them and LSRTV, and just a shout out to James for putting this on, and Ace Tech for the prize giveaway. So I'm looking forward really next week to Chicago. I haven't race that, but I know it'll be a lot of fun, especially with Sean and Paul and Robert. I know that there'll be a challenge, so I'm looking forward to it.
Will be fun to see for sure. Ryan Bloom again at the end of 100 laps tonight at the Legacy Atlanta picks up the win. He is now the second different winner in 2 races now of the Northwest Gen 4 Cup Fun Series. Well, Jason Rockefeller, always fun working with you, my friend. Your final take, race at Atlanta. We've saw two, old-time racetracks of racing back in the day, Phoenix and Atlanta, the legacy tracks. Now we go to the road course, the street race at Chicago next Wednesday night. I think we're going to really see a changing of the guard, or will we see the continued dominance of guys like Brightsman and Bloom? Your final thoughts, bud?
Well, tonight's race was definitely something. Always fun seeing these old cars back on the old surface here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But next week, you talk about a changing of the guard in a sense, which it very much is. We've never seen the old cars here on this newer surface. This track isn't even a year old, basically, in the real life. But obviously, it's been on iRacing now for a couple of years. I'm very interested to see how it goes. And one word to sum up next week, probably chaos.
Well, we look forward to seeing what takes place, of course, next Wednesday night. Don't forget, by the way, the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying Series will be in action tomorrow night with simulcast coverage on LSRTV and FTN. We're back with the Northwest Trucks presented by Click It RV. Monday night from the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Speedway on iRacing. The LSRTV CRN coverage begins at 11:20 Eastern Time for coverage, of course. And then remember, the Chicago Street Race next Wednesday night as well. For everybody at Rocket Racing Media, for Jeff Stabnow and Charles Wooten, Mr. Director tonight, Cody Deemers, for Jason Rockefeller. This is Wesley Outland congratulating again Ryan Bloom, winner tonight of the Gen 4 Cup Fun Series at Atlanta. We'll see you on the streets of Wednesday.